Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another RCSB tips and tricks. I'm hoping that we got a few people watching out there. It looks like there's about 10 or 12 folks at this time. Uh, Before we get started, a couple things to just kind of make this a better experience for you. If you'll notice on the right side of the YouTube stream, there's a chat window. If you have any questions or comments, or would just let me know that you're out there by saying hi, just type something at the bottom and press enter, and it will show up. And there's Walter Mitty. Okay, let me turn up the volume a little bit. See if we can fix that. Okay, let's see if that's a little better. Um, there's everyone. Hey, how's everyone doing? Walter, Timothy, Jan, Vicar. Glad you guys are here. Thanks, Walter. Uh, got a couple things to just go over real quick before I get started again. Like I said about the chat. Um, we'll be sure and put your questions or comments in there, and that should they'll get to me. There's a little bit of a lag between what I'm doing and what you see, of about 10 or 15 seconds, so just kind of bear with me. Sometimes it may seem like I'm ignoring you, but it's just got to catch up in the stream. So okay, well, let's get started. Good place to start is, let's talk about navigation on the site. I know, a lot of you guys that are on here now are kind of old timers on the site, but there's a lot of little things people don't understand about navigation on the site. And they're kind of obvious once you see them, but they're not always obvious if you're not looking for them. Obviously we have the menu along the top here, right? A couple of things to remember is that the menu is at the top of every single page, right? You can always go up here. Everything that you can do on the site, you can find here in the menu, okay? And another quick thing you may or may not know is, let's say you get out to community here, and you want to get back to the home page. All you ever have to do is come up here on the left and click on the logo, the RCSB logo, and that will always take you back to the home page, just so you know. A couple of other things to mention. Let's scroll down to the bottom of the page. At the bottom of every single page, there's three links. There is the portal home, which is this home page. There's the forum home, which lists all the forums. And then there's our privacy policy. I'd spend some time to read that. It's also in the menu. You can get to it there, certainly. So be sure and check that out. Contrary to what people on other forums believe or say, we don't do anything with your personal information. We don't sell your email addresses. We don't give them out. We don't do anything like that. So rest assured that I appreciate my privacy just as much as you do yours. And I don't want my email address spread all over the internet. So I'm right there with you. But we certainly don't do that kind of stuff. So the only thing we really do is we use analytics to track what you do on the site, and that's not at an individual level. That's at an anonymous level, so we can kind of see what pages people are going to, how they get there, and just to make those things easier. That's really the only reason we do that. But we certainly respect your privacy as much as I want other people to respect mine. So be rest assured about that. But you can also get to the two home pages, either the forum or the portal page from the bottom, and that's at the bottom of every single page. And let's get into the forums here. So you click on Community and Forums, of course. I want to talk a little bit about what all this stuff on the screen means. Some of it's obvious, some of it isn't, okay? The first thing to note, on the left-hand side, you see the little envelope on each entry. Like, let's look at where site news is. To the very left, there's like a light blue envelope. If there are new items to read, and this is just a little hint, that envelope will be dark. Let's see if we can find one. See, there's one right there on Nick Zeroli Plans. So since the last time I was on the site, you can see on Nick Zeroli Plans there that there's a dark blue envelope. That means there's new posts in that forum. Okay. The second thing that you want to see here is you'll see a little book with a pin. That means that you can post in that forum. That's what that means. And then, of course, the site name, which is a link and a brief description. And then coming over to the right, of course, there's topics and posts. One thing I'd like to point out here that a lot of people get confused about are three, or really two. You have forums and you have topics, or threads is another name for topics. A forum is a collection of threads. So like, if we scroll down here, the Brian Taylor Plans forum, okay, this is a forum, okay, because it has a bunch of topics or threads in it, right? So when you're using the terms, make sure that you try and get those right, because it confuses some people if you don't. Some people call a topic a forum, and that's not what it is. The forum is the listing, right? And the topic is the actual thread, like this. Yeah. So let's get back there. Any questions about that so far? Okay. Well, if you have any questions, be sure and post them there in the chat, and I'll certainly get to them. The next thing I wanted to talk about after navigation was topic or thread or forum subscriptions. Okay. On RCSB, you can subscribe to an entire forum, which means anytime someone posts in that forum a new topic or a reply, you will get a notification, email notification. Also, you can follow just a topic or thread. Let's go look at that, as a matter of fact. We'll go into Brian Taylor Plans here. And let's look at this first topic, the electric BF 109. Okay, if you notice in the upper right corner of at the top of the thread, there's several links. There's post a reply, new topic, new poll, and the important one here we want to talk about is follow topic. Okay, here's the way RCSB works by default. If you never touch your settings in your profile, anytime you reply to a topic or a thread, you will be subscribed to that automatically. Okay, so if you want to follow a thread or a topic that you have never posted in, at the top and bottom of every page inside this thread, there's that follow topic over on the right. Okay, and you can see here down at the bottom also. Okay. All right. Another thing you can do, you can see who is subscribed to this topic. Right below those links is a small window that shows who's subscribed to this specific thread. That kind of helps you view who's following your own thread sometimes. You can check that out. Okay, any questions? Oh, and another thing, one question I get from people, okay, the biggest problem we have on RCSB is people having bad email addresses, and let me tell you why that happens. They'll come on the site, they'll join, they'll go follow a bunch of topics, and now they're getting all these emails. Well, they can't figure out how to stop them, okay? Well, there's two ways. You can either, so if I follow this topic, let me click on that. Okay, and it's going to tell me that I'll be notified by email of all the replies, and it says to unwatch this topic, click the follow topics link at the bottom, top or bottom of the page. Actually, that should say unfollow, but I'll fix that. So now instead of it saying follow topics, it's saying unfollow topic. Okay, so that's one way you can stop following a thread. Let's do that. The other way is you can come up on the menu to My Profile and click on Email Notification Subscriptions. Okay? And look at this. These are the top is the forums that I follow, and the bottom are the individual topics or threads that I follow. Look how many of those I follow. I need to go through here and clean this up. So the way you clean this up, let me find an old one here. Let's go way back here to some early ones. They're sorted by newest at the top, okay? I'll show you what that is in just a second, Timothy. No problem. Let's see. Let's web search tutorial. I'm going to unsubscribe to it. So what I do is, over on the right, I check that box and I click unsubscribe. Okay. So you can manage all of your subscriptions, email subscriptions, in this part of your profile. Okay. So that's how you manage that. Now let me answer Timothy's question about what new poll is. Okay, let's go back to forums. And let's go to, let me find a good one here. Let's go to construction, okay? Let's go to that form. Okay, if you notice, there's up here by new topic, there's a new poll. And what this is, this allows you to create a poll to ask people questions. So what I've seen it used for by members is like someone's asking, maybe they want to know what brand of CA most people use. So you could come in here and you can click on new poll and say, what brand of CA do you use? Okay. And then we'll just make that the question too, okay? So that's the subject of the, and then poll choice 1 would be Zap. 2 would be Bob Smith. 3 would be Balsa USA. Whatever. So now what happens is when you post this, and if you want to elaborate on it some, like I am in the process of stocking up for the virus scare. What CA do you use? Okay. And at this point, it would actually post a poll. I'm not going to post it because I don't want to. I don't want to ask people that, but you know you can. But that's what a poll is. It basically allows you, you know, if you want to find out what the majority of people use, you could really do the same thing with just a thread, okay? And you would get a lot of text responses, but that's just not as, you know, fun sometimes as a poll. And I actually use the polling tool quite a bit. If you go under community and forums and go to the second entry at the top, site polls, you can actually see a lot of polls there. Like right now, people have been answering your favorite part of the hobby. Okay, let's open that. So this is what it would look like to the person. And it'll show you the results of the poll. It's, you know, it is what it is. It's just a very simple poll. Yeah, no problem. It's my pleasure. And any questions you guys have like that, don't hesitate to just blurt them out, because that's what I'm here for, is to answer your questions and help you out as much as I can. Look, we have a great community, and I love being a part of it. And believe me, the main thing that I want to be doing is not working on a website like this, but I do it because you guys are so awesome, and we have such a fantastic community that it's actually a pleasure for me to do this stuff. So I really do thank you guys for supporting the site and being a part of it. Okay, well, let's keep going. I'd like to talk about email addresses. If you are not receiving, email notifications from the site, please get in touch with me via the Contact Us form on the site. What happens is, a lot of times people will put an email address in their profile when they sign up, and it may be their company email, or it may be an old catch-all email address, and they end up getting rid of it, and then all of a sudden all those posts start bouncing. Okay, let me show you something here if I can find it. One second. Let me see if I can locate this. I don't have it on hand, but I try and keep up with the bounces of site supporters, and because here's what happens, guys. After so many times, your account will actually get disabled if it keeps sending to an address that bounces back, because it thinks that the account's no longer active at that point. So that's just something that's built into the forum, and I try and sidestep it as much as I can, but sometimes that happens. But if for some reason you're not receiving your notifications, just shoot me an email with your current email address. And if you do have a current email address in your profile and you're not receiving them, then more than likely it's your provider, your ISP, is blocking them for some reason. Unfortunately, there's nothing that I can do about that. We do everything, absolutely everything in our power to make sure that the RCSB mail server is seen as a valid, non-spam, legitimate mail server to all other servers, but sometimes they still catch the emails because they look alike, kind of, so they think it's a spam. But if you're not receiving those and you know your email address is correct, my suggestion would be to go to Gmail and set up a free account there, or Live Mail, Windows Live. Set up an Outlook account, and you can get your mail through those and log in through a web interface without having to, go through all the setting up your email client. That's just some ways to handle that. Let's see. Any questions about that? about the emails or the notifications. Let's go back to the home page. Okay. Let's see. A couple of other things to take note of. Sometimes what happens is, trying to see. Oh, by the way, if you ever want to get back to this YouTube channel quickly, if you just scroll down and on the left-hand side to the online activity, there are icons at the bottom for all the social media sites that we support. We have a page on Facebook. We have this channel on YouTube. We actually have a Telegram channel. And if you like to follow RSS feeds, you can actually, here I'll show you what that looks like. This is actually the feed that you can put into your RSS program if you use that. Most people don't. Okay. Well, next up, I want to talk about images. Okay. This seems to be a big thing that a lot of people have problems with, and there's a couple of things I want to point out to begin with. One of the first things I would ask you to do is when you go into a forum, let's go into any forum, it doesn't matter. If you notice at the top, there is a section here. These are what are called sticky topics. Okay? And what sticky topics are is they appear at the top of every single forum listing. Okay? So as you may have seen before, the site news, all the things that are relevant each month, the site supporter walk around, the model of the month, the things that are important, special offers. We can take this Toledo weak signals out here. Let's get rid of that. Let's just make it a normal topic since they've canceled the show, unfortunately. Okay, so it's out there. I tell you what, I'm logged in as an admin right now. Let me log in. I have a test user account that I use. And you guys may have seen it before. It's called Stratoliner. And this is just an account I use to test things from a user perspective. We don't want to save that. Okay. So getting back to the forum listing here, let's go back into a forum. You see how some of these on the listing are dark blue now? That means there's new posts in there since this account was logged in last. And there's also two that I can't get into. This guy's if you scroll down here on the left, you'll see this guy is a basic member. See that? Right there. He's not a site supporter. He's just a regular old basic member. So he does not have access to the site supporter goodies here. Okay? But anyway, so let's get back to images. Let's talk about that. Let's go back into a forum, and we'll pick Nick Reeves this time. So here are the sticky topics at the top, and as you can see, there's quite a few of them, but one of the ones I would encourage you to sit down and read is the image resizing tutorial. Okay, let's open that up. This is a document I actually wrote up a while ago and posted. And what it does, it explains to you why we handle images the way we do on RCSB. Okay? The main reason, and just in a nutshell, that it tells you is that we, as you know, our images are posted in line They're not little thumbnails at the bottom like some other forums. And the reason that we do that is we want to be able to tell the story correctly, okay? So if you're sitting there trying to explain why you did something or a process that you went through, it's very difficult to do that when all the images are at the bottom of the post and you have to kind of try and figure out which one's which, okay? An easier way to do that is to have it all in line. Let's go look at one of my threads real quick as an example. And we'll come back to this in just a second because I want you to see this. This is important. Let's see. I know I got one here somewhere. There we go. Let's look at my Bates P51, the project that will never end. That's what I call it. So as you start going through this, you see how I'm able to show things step by step, right? That's the advantage of this type of format. Okay, it really gives you an opportunity to step through and show things on a step-by-step basis without having to try and figure out which image goes with what in a thread. So that's why we do that. So let's go back to the top of the form here. Oh, by the way, let me show you that again. Speaking of navigation, if you look at the top of a thread, you'll notice these are called breadcrumbs that I'm highlighting. See that? And what breadcrumbs are, they're basically a way back for you. So it's showing you the hierarchy of the site, basically. So this topic is in the Jerry Bates Plans forum, which is in the forum listing, which is part of the site. Okay? And those breadcrumbs are very handy if you just want to pop back, say, one level. You can use the back arrow on the browser, that's fine. But that's what they're there for. Now you see the breadcrumbs. We're in the Jerry Bates Plans forum, and then there's forum and home. So we can go up and down this way too, okay? So back into, let's go back to page 1 here. Back into the image resizing tutorial. So that's why we have to limit the size of the images, is because we use that flowing inline format. Okay, so here's what would happen. If we took your images as it was out of your camera, and we just allowed you to post those things are like 2 and 3 megabytes in size. If you put 5 images on a post, that's 15 megabytes that have to download just to see that one post. Now multiply that by X number of posts in a thread, and that would make the site so slow and that it would be unusable. So that's why we limit the size. But what's really interesting about this is you can post an image that's a fairly large size. The main thing that you want to deal with here is resolution, okay? And I'm not talking about the X and the Y, the width and the height of the image. I'm talking about the depth or the density of the pixels, okay? Monitors, any monitor, the highest resolution it can display is 96 pixels per inch, unless it's a very special monitor. But 99.99% of the monitors on all your devices, your phones, all that, can only display 96 ppi, or pixels per inch. Your average photo that you take with your phone or your tablet is 600 pixels per inch. So you see where all the size is coming from now. It's way overkill for displaying it on the web. And the reason that they do this by default is they assume that you may want to have a print of a photo made. So they naturally go to the highest resolution that they can shoot by default, in case you want to get a print that you'll be satisfied with it. Because a print can when you have an image printed on photo paper, it can go to 600 dpi, but a monitor just can't show that resolution. So what we need to do is we need to change the DPI of the image from 600 down to 96. And that's what these programs like PhotoRaiser for Windows, Apple OS X actually has an image preview app that you can change it. Okay, Linux, which is what I have to use, there's a program called ConvertC, which allows you to change the size and the resolution. Okay, all of these programs allow you to do that. And then, of course, let's see, smartphones and tablets, there's a few apps out there that allow you to do that. But I tell you, the best workflow you can come up with is to take your images with your phone and then load those onto your computer just with a USB cable. And because once you connect it up, your phone will just look like a drive to the computer. And if you just have a tablet, for instance, there are apps that you can use, such as Simple Resize, Image Compress and Resize, and it depends on whether you use an iPhone or iPad or an Android phone or tablet as to which apps to use. But there are apps that allow you to resize those and get them to a decent size. Now I want to show you guys something, okay? A lot of people say, well, to get the image small enough, which I think the limit right now is 175K, people go, my gosh, how in the world can you get an image that small and it still look good? Under forum suggestions and support, I think is where that's at. No, I know where it's at. It's under site news. My feeble memory is acting up here. I'm trying to remember where this post was, but I think it was back a page or two. But I wanted to show you guys this because it was actually pretty telling. Also, remember, you can use these numbers or you can use the drop down to navigate through these forums. See, this is what happens when you get old. You start forgetting where you put stuff. There was actually maybe it was a gym one. Let's see if that was it. No, that's not it. Let's go back. April, maybe. No, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but there is a image that I posted. You remember when we switched over to not allowing external linking of images? Let's see. I don't think this is it either. see, when did I talk about that? So, January 1st in April. So this is September. So let me go back to April news. I'm sorry, guys. I was totally ill prepared for this. Let's see if this is it. I really want you to see this image because it really displays how important resolution is. Here it is. Okay. So this image, this is actually under the 175K limit. Okay. And you see how large it is. All I did was I set the width of the image to like 1024, and I set the resolution to 96 and resized it, and it came right down, no problem. It is under 175K, and you still get plenty of quality and plenty of detail. A lot of people, that's their complaint to me. They'll use that excuse and say, well, I don't like to post on your site because in order to get the image small enough, you can't see any detail. Okay. And this just isn't true, as you can see. Okay, matter of fact, let's see, let me save that image, and I'm going to see how large it is. It is, there it is, 163.7K. So as you can see, you can get a high resolution or a highly detailed image by resizing. Okay, I'm going to step through real quick and resize an image using PhotoRaiser because most people use Windows. Do most of you people use Windows here that are watching today? And by the way, any new people that have come on, glad you're here joining us. If you have any questions, be sure and type it there in the chat, and we'll get to it right away. So, do most people here use Windows? Yes or no? Type in the chat and let me know what you use to view and post images with on RCSB. If you're using Windows, if you're using a Mac, if you're using a tablet, what are you guys using? Okay. Okay, while you guys are responding to that, I'm going to hook up my phone to, actually, I'll tell you what I could do and get an image off of it to show you how to resize this stuff. Okay. All right, John. All right. Okay, so we've got some iPhone people and iPads, and we've got some Windows folks. Unfortunately, I have an Android phone, so I can't really show you on an iPhone, but there are apps to resize that I have listed in that document. Let me open this. See if I can get this open here. Okay, yeah, there's a picture we'll use as a test here. See if this is it. By the way, you're not seeing this. I have multiple screens, so I'm only capturing the one screen. But what I want to show you is, even on Linux, I can run PhotoRaiser because Linux has a way to emulate Windows programs. So let's run PhotoRaiser. Okay. So, for Windows users that are not familiar with this or maybe just want some tips, the thing about PhotoRaiser is that's so cool is it can resize multiple images all at the same time. Okay. So let me I'm going to leave that one there. One second here. Okay. So what you do first is you go choose a folder, and I choose the desktop. I just pick one of these images and say open. And if you notice now, that's that image I downloaded back off the site. Over on the right-hand side, on the far right-hand side, you see the two images. There's that image, and then there's this image. By the way, this is a little X-Acto vise that my old friend Vance Mosier left to me before he passed away. And I pulled it out and cleaned it up and sanded it all down and primed it and repainted it, and now it's usable again. It was a big old rusty mess before. But anyway, so here's a large image, okay? Now if you notice, that was number one, select photos. Number two is size and quality. Here it says maximum width, height of 800 pixels. So what you want to do over here is say, instead of 800 is the max, because this is a little bit older program, but you can highlight that and type in 1024 and make it, there you go, larger. And picture quality only needs to run about 65 or 70%, you know. Okay. And then next you'll see resize and save. I want to do both photos, and it's going to save them in a subfolder on my desktop called small photos. And you can change that just by clicking on that link and changing the directory. But I just leave it small photos. That way, if I have a folder full of photos, I can just go into it, and when I resize them, it leaves the originals alone and makes a new folder called small photos and puts the lower resolution image of them in there. Okay. Another thing that you don't see on here, but it does automatically, is PhotoRaiser will automatically change the pixels per inch from 600 down to 96. Okay, so let's resize them, and that's it. It's done. So now let's open up that folder. Let's take a look at that. Hold on. Pull my little folder thing over here, and we're going to open up desktop. So there are the two images, originals, and now there's a folder called small folders. See that? And if we look inside there they are. Okay, so that original photo that I had, let's go back to the desktop and let's look at the size of it. I right click and say properties. It was 2.5 megabytes. See that? Okay. Now if we go to the small photos and look at that one, it's 45 kilobytes. So it's like a third of the max. And if you look at it, let's open it up. It's still a decent looking image, as you can see. Okay. So that's what PhotoRaiser does, and that's really what the other programs do too. Is they basically, you can resize the physical size, and just an FYI, I would suggest not making them any wider than 1280 pixels, because if you get them too large, what happens is it ends up making the person scroll off to the right of their screen to be able to see the whole image. So I usually make all mine 1024 wide, okay? And that seems to be a good size. It shows, you know, what you're wanting to see. Any questions about that? About why we make the image uploads the way they are? Does that help you guys to understand now why we do that? I know it's a little bit of a pain, but it just tells the story so much better than a bunch of thumbnails, okay? And anybody can throw up a thread with a bunch of thumbnails, okay? That's not helpful to anyone. What's helpful is the way you guys do your threads, where you're going through and explaining things. That's the helpful part, okay? And I appreciate everyone that does that. And if you've never done a thread before on RCSB, I would hope that you would. So if you're working on a new project, or you get ready to start a new project, that's a great time to do it. Okay, moving on. How to make a URL link. This is probably the most misunderstood thing on the site. Okay? And this is actually really easy. I'm going to come here to, let's go to the forums. And we'll go to, let's see, I don't know. We'll go to gossip. That's a good one. We'll open up that forum, and let's make a new post. Oh, I said poll, didn't I? Oops, go back. Say new topic. If you noticed, I just clicked on new topic over on the right hand side. Let's go back so you can see that again. If you've never done it, what you want to do is you want to navigate to the appropriate forum. Very important. And within that forum, you just click new topic. And that's how you start a thread. Simple. So we'll just say, good link. Okay. And we'll say, here is a link to, I don't know, let me go grab something out of my hobby stuff. Let's see. Turn something on here, bookmarks. Yeah, we'll just do modeler's reference. How about that? Let's go get that one. Okay. Sorry for the flashing on the screen. For some reason, my OBS is doing that sometimes. I'll have to try and figure out what's going on there. Okay, so let's say we want to show people, say, hey, I found this cool site, modeler's reference, okay? So I copy the link. I just basically highlight it. I right-click on it and say copy. And the way you do this varies from device to device, but that's the way you do it on computers most of the time. Okay, then we come back to our tab with Windows, with RCSB, and say, here's a link to modeler's reference. Okay, and I want to put, so if I paste the URL in there now, I right click and I say paste. It's there, but it's not a link, okay? And the reason is, let's scroll down a little bit, and the reason is, the forum is trying to protect itself and all of you, okay? If a spammer gets on here, they're not going to bother with trying to learn how to create a link on the site. They're just going to paste a link like that, and it won't work, and it'll just be text. And it also, you may notice, if it's not a true link, it will actually put a space in there sometimes, or actually it does it all the time. And it does that so it will break the link, so if someone copies it, they won't go to it. Because what we're trying to do is we're trying to assume that everyone who wants to truly paste a link will do it correctly. So here's how you do it. It's real simple. So we still have that link in our clipboard, right? So we just highlight that text and we click this little arrow that looks like a sideways U with an arrow, and it pops up this box asking for a URL. And then we just right click and say paste. There we go. Now that's a link. That's all there is to it. If you want to use text instead of the actual link, you can do this. You can say like check out modeler's reference. Oop, I'm such a bad typist, guys. ... Okay, so if I want to make the word modeler's reference a link, I just highlight it, and I do the same thing. I paste that URL in. Now that text is an actual link. Okay, so that's how the link tool works. And again, it's not there to make you aggravated or pissed off. It's there to protect you, because it is so easy for someone to get into one of these forums. I mean, I know you guys have seen it before because some of you report them. You end up, what happens is you end up seeing some topic posted about Gucci handbags, okay? It's just so easy to, all they got to do is take the time to post it, and that's it. So that's how you do a link. Any questions about that before we move on? Give it just a few seconds here. So that's a really simple way to do it, and it works really well. So just remember that. Okay, let's see what else. What have I got on my list? I made a list here. God, we're coming up on our hour too. Private messages. Does everybody understand how private messaging works on the site? Okay, let's just go through that real quick. Excuse me. You can get to your PMs by clicking on community. I'm sorry, by clicking on my profile on the site and private messenger. Okay, so there's several links up here on the right. There's inbox, sent items, buddy list, and new message. Your inbox, of course, this guy has one test message in it. Well, what's interesting here is it will show you the limit of, like it says, Stratoliner, you have one private message, you can receive another 249 out of 250. If you get up to 250 messages in there, guess what? People can't PM you. So it is important that you clean up your messages, okay? And you do that in your inbox here. Over on the right, there's a little check box. You just check the ones you want to delete and say delete selected. Okay, and there it's gone. Okay, so try and keep an eye on that, because a lot of times people will private message me and they'll say, Mike, I'm trying to PM such and such and I can't because it says his inbox is full. And that's why. Okay, we try and go through periodically and purge really, really old messages that no one's using anymore, but it's really up to you to keep your PM inbox clean. Also, if you have someone that you message on a regular basis, you can add them to your buddy list. Okay, like I've got my buddy Sweeper. We all know him, and you can basically use this to block people too. If somebody's PMing you and you don't want to get PMs from them, you can set this to not message me. So, but you can add your friends in there. That way you can just come here without having to look up their name. Okay. Any questions about that? About PMs? And of course, you all should know by now that when you're in a thread, let's open up one here, that you can come to any of these topics, and at the bottom of every post is a link to private message that person. Okay? So, there you go. Okay. Let's see, I've already already talked about that. Okay, I'll tell you what. One question I get asked a lot is well, two things. One, how do I find all my own threads? Okay. And two, golly, that's annoying, that flickering. And two is, where can I store threads that I want to follow? Well, let me show you, first of all, in my profile, there is a link called My Topics. Okay? Now let me switch over to my admin account because this account doesn't have any threads. Let's go back to my profile. And if I click on My Topics, it's going to produce a list of topics that I created. Okay? And they're sorted from, I think, the earliest to the latest. But you can see there's a complete list of all my threads that I created. So if you ever need to find one of your own threads, this is how you can do it. Okay, the second thing that a lot of people ask is, let me turn this off for a second, is they want to know, they come to a thread and they're like, you know, Mike, I found this thread in the Jerry Bates Plans forum. We'll pick on Vickers thread. And I really want to bookmark this because I'm on page 74 and I don't want to have to navigate back to that every time. Okay. This is not a function of the site. This is a function of your browser. And they're called bookmarks. For anybody that does not understand what those are, I'm using Chrome right now, and I'll show you how to do it in Firefox too. But if you come over here to the far right to the three little dots and open the menu, and you go to Bookmarks, let that open, and you say Show Bookmarks Bar. Okay? As you can see, I've got a lot of folders up here, and these are literally links to things that I use for work, for RCSB, and even personal stuff. Okay? So what you can do is you can come on this bar and you can just right click anywhere and say add folder. Okay? And I'm going to do that. I'm going to create a folder and I'm going to call it favorite RCSB threads. Okay? And I'll say save. Now, here it is right here. Okay, I'm going to show you a little trick here of how you get this. There's a couple of ways you can do this. Okay? But the easiest way to do this is, let's say you're at page 5 and you go, okay, I want to read this later, but I want to come back. If you notice up here in the URL, it's saying that it's on topic page number 5. Okay, so all I do is I come over here to where the little lock is, and I hold down the mouse, and I drag that over here to favorite RCSB links, and look at that, there it is. Okay, so let's go to, say, back to here, and if I come over here and I say click on that, it takes me right back to where I was. Okay, that's how bookmarks work. That's a feature of your browser. Okay, and that's what it's there for, is to save your favorite links. Let me pull up Firefox and show you how it works there. It's pretty much the same. Excuse me. I've got some post-nasal drip this morning, or this afternoon, and it is about to kill me. It's not the coronavirus, I promise. Okay, so here we are again. Let's log in. Okay, so we're logged in. And let's go back to Jerry Bates Plans. And we'll do, I don't know, we'll look at Jerry's plan update thread. We'll go to the last page of that. Oh, by the way, and by the way, that you can do that on iPhones. You can create those folders on Safari, Chrome, Firefox, golly, I lost my mind trying to remember the Windows browser, Microsoft browser, not Windows Explorer, but whatever it is now. Anyway, when you're in a listing here, oh, I'm sorry, let me block that. When you're in a listing here, over on the right, it shows the last post that was time the post was updated and by who. If you notice there's an arrow, see that blue arrow? If you click on that blue arrow, that will always take you to the last post of the thread. See, okay. So just so you know, that's a nice little tip. So here we are on the last post of the thread. And if I want to keep up with this, I kind of do the same thing that I did in Chrome, okay? So I come over here and I click on the little 3 bars. Those of us in the computer industry call this the hamburger menu, okay? Because it looks like a little hamburger. Same thing, we find bookmarks. Let's see where we find that at on here. Oh wait, I told you the wrong thing here. You don't click on you. Yeah, you just right click on the background of the top bar and say bookmarks toolbar. And as you see, I have a bunch of them on here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new one. I'm going to right click and I'm going to say new folder. I'm going to call it RCSB favorites. Oops. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to grab the little lock and I'm just going to drag it over to that folder and it drops it right in there. Okay, so now again we can be anywhere on the internet. I don't even know if that's still around. So you can be on Facebook maybe. No, we don't want to be there. Nobody likes Facebook. We can be on another site and say, oh, I need to go check on this thread. And you just click on that and it will take you right back to it. So that's a real neat little tip on, yeah, Edge, thank you. I couldn't remember it. I was like, I try and block that browser out of my head sometimes. But anyway, that's a neat little tip. All browsers support it. And let me close this. One thing I would, okay, if you want to add, if my recommendation for a good browser is Chrome or Firefox, either one of those. And let me tell you why. Edge and Apple Safari browser, they're good browsers. There's technically nothing wrong with them. The problem is those two companies are notorious about writing their own standards. Okay, they don't follow the World Wide Web standards for web pages as far as how they're built. Okay, they follow them mostly, okay, but not 100%. Chrome and Firefox do, and they're faster. They offer a lot more features, and one thing that they do that is really powerful, and I want to show you this on Firefox, because Chrome has it too. And by the way, you can get Firefox or Chrome for iPhones, iPads, just about everything. Sorry, let me turn that down. So it's available on all platforms: Linux, Mac, Windows, iPhone, iPad, Android phone, Android tablets. You can get either one of those. The other thing that they do that is so neat is they have a feature called, let me find it. Where are you? Oh, this one's already set up. But basically what they do is you can set up an account with Google for Chrome or with Firefox, and you can sign into your browser. And what that does is every browser on every platform, let's say you have a PC and you have an iPhone and you have an Android tablet, okay? What you can do is you can load Chrome or Firefox up on all three of those and then set up an account, and it will synchronize your bookmarks, all of these bookmarks. It will synchronize your history. It will synchronize your form fill, all of those features across all of those devices. So you never have to kind of try and go find it on another device. As you, like for instance, let's go back to Chrome here. As you can see, all of these bookmarks, okay, all those are transferred between every copy of Chrome I have on every device. So that is a really neat and very cool feature that browsers have now. I think Microsoft's Edge is doing that now. I think they finally added that if you do that, but they're not available on every single platform yet, but they are working on that. But anyway, let's see. By the way, thank you, Boss of Dust, for reminding me of the name. I forgot it. Sucks to get old. Okay, well, that's it. I'm pretty much finished, guys. Do you guys have any specific questions about the site that maybe I can answer for you? I tried to cover just kind of some tips and tricks and show you some ways to speed up things and make things more efficient. Let's see. I was trying. Another thing here we can see here is the forum jump. If you ever want to go to another forum without having to navigate back up to forums and then go find it, you can just say, okay, well, let's go to Model of the Month. And it's going to take you right there. So, well, that's all I've got, gentlemen and ladies, if there's any ladies watching. I really appreciate you guys tuning in today. I hope you found this helpful. If you did, please let me know. And I can do these on a regular basis. If you have any questions, you can always just contact me via the Contact Us page on the site. Oh, Vicar, it's my pleasure. I love this hobby, and it's been so good to me. I really enjoy hosting the site, and as long as I'm around, it'll be here. How about that? So we got a great community, a lot of great folks. Let's just keep posting those builds, man. That's how it's how other people learn, is from all of our experience. So, okay, well, thanks again, and we're going to cut the stream off now. And if you have any questions, be sure and use the Contact Us on the site. Also, while you're on YouTube, if you have not liked, or if you're not following the RCSB channel, be sure and do that. So my lifetime membership isn't my... No, it's my lifetime, Boss of Dust. There you go. No, I'm just curious. It is your lifetime. You know, unless we get hit by an asteroid, you know, we're all good. So you guys have a good weekend, and thanks again for tuning in. And it was great chatting with some of you. I wish we could do this both ways, but unfortunately it's not set up that way. But Anyway, be sure to subscribe to the RCSB YouTube channel. And we'll be talking to you soon, I guess. See you on the site. Bye-bye.